Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something simple, but deep. How do you really know when a woman is in love? It's not always in her words. It's not just in how she smiles or what she posts on social media. Sometimes it's in the things she does quietly, consistently, and wholeheartedly, without even asking for anything in return. And that's what makes a woman's love so powerful. In this world of fast love, shallow connections, and loud displays of affection, we often overlook the silent sacrifices, the things women do, not for show, not for attention, but out of deep, emotional commitment. This speech isn't about cliches. It's about truth. It's about 6 powerful things women do only for the men they genuinely love. And I urge you, listen closely to each one. Because if you're a man lucky enough to be loved like this, you'll understand just how rare and valuable that love truly is. A woman who truly loves doesn't just fall in love. She opens up. She lets her walls come down, not because she's weak, but because she trusts you with her vulnerability. The same woman who's independent, strong, and guarded with others becomes soft and open with the man she loves. She allows herself to be seen, flaws, fears, and all. That openness? It's not common, it's earned, and it's sacred. When a woman is in love, your happiness matters to her, deeply. She pays attention to what makes you smile, what comforts you when you're down, and what motivates you to keep going. Whether it's remembering the smallest details or making sacrifices just to see you at peace, these aren't things she has to do. She chooses to do them. And that choice is love in action. Anyone can love you when you're successful, when you're winning, but a woman who truly loves you, she stays when the world walks away. She's there when you're uncertain, when you've failed, when you've lost your way. Not to fix everything for you, but to remind you that you're not alone. Her loyalty during your weakest moments is one of the most telling signs of genuine love. Real love isn't just about comfort, it's about growth. A woman in love will hold you accountable. She'll push you toward your best self, not because she's trying to change you, but because she believes in your potential. Her love comes with encouragement, tough conversations, and a quiet fire that motivates you to rise higher. She wants to see you win, not just in the world, but in life, in character, in purpose. Loving someone isn't about finding a perfect partner. It's about seeing the imperfections and choosing to stay. A woman in love doesn't pretend you're flawless, but she doesn't criticize or shame you either. She sees your flaws, accepts your baggage, and still sees value in you. Her love makes room for growth, but it starts with deep, non-judgmental acceptance. That's rare. The final sign? She lets you in, fully, her time, her energy, her dreams, her fears. She invites you into her private world, and not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. She shares her thoughts, her plans, her family, her love, because she's not just building a relationship, she's building a life with you in it. So gentlemen, if you ever wonder how a woman truly feels about you, don't just listen to what she says, watch what she does. Love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's in the way she supports you, believes in you, challenges you, and stands beside you even when the rest of the world turns away. If you find a woman who does even a few of these things, hold her close, respect her deeply, and never take her love for granted. Because when a woman loves you with her heart, her actions, and her soul, you are witnessing one of the purest forms of love that exists. A woman who truly loves doesn't just express it through sweet words or physical affection. She reveals it through one of the most profound emotional shifts she can make, letting down her guard. This is something many people, especially women, often don't do lightly. In a world where they've been told to protect themselves, to remain strong, to not trust too quickly, this kind of emotional surrender is not a weakness. It's a rare act of courage. A woman may go through life learning how to stay guarded, to avoid being too vulnerable, especially if she's been hurt before. But when she falls in love with a man who makes her feel emotionally safe, supported, and seen, she begins to slowly, but deliberately, drop those defenses.
She starts allowing him to witness parts of her personality, past and pain that she may have kept hidden from everyone else. And this isn't something that happens with just any man. It only happens when she feels a deep emotional connection,
when she trusts that her vulnerability will not be used against her, and when she believes that this man truly honors her heart. She might share stories from her childhood that shaped her, open up about her fears and insecurities, or talk about dreams she's held close to her chest for years. She may cry in front of him without feeling ashamed, or admit when she's scared, overwhelmed, or unsure of herself. And for someone who's always been the strong one, the one who holds it together for everyone else, this kind of emotional exposure is more intimate than anything physical. It says, "I trust you enough to show you the unfiltered version of me." And make no mistake, that level of trust isn't given, it's earned. When a woman starts to let go of her emotional armor, you'll notice small but meaningful changes. She might go from being guarded in her speech to being more expressive. She may not flinch at emotional closeness, or she might stop holding back when it comes to showing affection. It's not that she suddenly becomes someone else, rather, she allows herself to become more of who she really is when she's with him. She feels safe being soft, not because she's lost her strength, but because she's finally with someone who doesn't make her feel like she has to constantly protect herself. And this softness doesn't mean she's easy to manipulate or that she's blind to reality. In fact, it often means she's fully aware of the risks, and she's still choosing to take that leap. That choice says more about her love than any romantic gesture ever could. Because for many women, emotional vulnerability is one of the deepest signs of affection. It's a signal that says, "You matter to me. You've touched a part of me that most people will never reach." When a woman is truly in love with a man, something subtle but deeply meaningful starts to happen. His needs begin to matter to her almost as much as her own, sometimes even more. This doesn't come from obligation or some outdated belief about serving a partner. No, this comes from a place of deep emotional investment and care. When she loves, she doesn't just feel it. She acts on it in ways that reflect thoughtfulness, consideration, and presence. She begins to notice the little things, how he likes his coffee, what calms him down after a long day, what kind of silence soothes him when he's overwhelmed. And these aren't efforts to impress him or win his attention. These are acts of devotion, expressions of love woven into daily routines. Woman in love starts to pay close attention. She listens not just to what he says, but to what he doesn't say. She can often tell when something's off before he even admits it. She might cook his favorite meal not because he asked, but because she remembers him mentioning it in passing weeks ago. She supports his goals, cheers for his wins, big or small, and tries to lighten his burdens when life gets heavy. She puts time into understanding what drives him, what discourages him, what helps him feel seen and appreciated. And in doing all this, she doesn't lose herself. She simply chooses to care on a level that goes beyond surface affection. Her love shows up in moments that seem ordinary to the outside world, reminding him of an appointment he forgot, staying up late to talk after a rough day, buying something small she knows he needs but would never ask for. She adjusts her schedule to make time for him. She makes room for him in her life even when she's busy or tired. She puts effort into how she communicates, knowing that real connection takes more than just attraction. And this doesn't mean she abandons her boundaries or self-respect. It means she understands the art of giving in love without losing herself. More importantly, she prioritizes not just his comfort, but his growth. She encourages him to take care of himself, to pursue his ambitions, to chase the things that light him up. She becomes invested in his well-being, not because she's dependent on him, but because she genuinely wants to see him thrive. And this kind of care is rare. It's not transactional, not a performance. It's love that's patient, nurturing, and generous. Men often miss these signs because they appear in small, quiet moments. But make no mistake, when a woman begins to consistently put your needs into the fabric of her life, when she begins to carry your joy and your struggles with you, you are not just loved, you are valued. And that kind of love doesn't come around often. There's a kind of love that shines when everything is going right. When the skies are clear, the money is good, the confidence is high, and the laughter comes easy. But the truest, deepest form of love doesn't reveal itself in those golden moments. It shows up when life is at its lowest. When a man is going through failure, fear, self-doubt, or heartbreak, that is when a woman's love is either proven or forgotten. And if she truly loves him, she doesn't run, she doesn't flinch, she stands by him. It's one of the most powerful things a woman can do, to hold space for a man when he no longer feels like the man he wants to be. When he loses a job, breaks down emotionally, faces a crisis, or just feels like life is slipping out of his control, many people step back. Friends disappear. The world gets quieter. But a woman who loves him will not only stay, she'll fight with him, sit beside him, and remind him of who he is when he's forgotten. She doesn't need him to be strong all the time. She doesn't love him because he's perfect or invincible. She loves him because of the heart he carries, and in his broken moments she holds that heart gently. Sometimes her presence is quiet. She doesn't always have to give a speech or try to fix everything. She just stays. She listens when he finally lets the frustration out. She doesn't judge him when he's vulnerable. She might wipe away his tears, not just from his face, but from his soul, by simply being there without expecting him to pretend to be okay. And that loyalty, that emotional backbone, becomes one of the clearest signals that her love is real. She might carry more weight than she signed up for during this time. Maybe she handles extra responsibilities, picks up the emotional slack, or encourages him daily even when she's tired herself. But she doesn't resent him. She understands that love isn't just about sharing good times. It's about staying connected even when everything else is falling apart. And it's not because she's desperate or has low standards. It's because she sees something in him, even when he doesn't see it in himself. Not every woman can do this. Not every woman should. But the one who does, she's rare. And the man who has her, even if he feels lost in the moment, has already won something powerful. Because he's not just going through the storm alone. He's got someone who chooses to stand beside him in the rain, soaked, tired, and still holding his hand. When a woman stays through the struggle, when she doesn't give up, when things get ugly, when she continues to offer love instead of leaving at the first sign of difficulty, she's not just showing support. She's proving that her love was never shallow. It was rooted. And roots don't leave when the weather changes. When a woman truly loves a man, she doesn't just comfort him. She challenges him, not in a way that belittles or pressures him, but in a way that calls him forward. Her love isn't just a soft place to land, it's a force that encourages growth. She sees his potential, sometimes even before he does, and she refuses to let him settle for less than the greatness she knows he's capable of. This kind of woman doesn't just love who he is today, she loves the man he can become. And because of that love, she'll push him, inspire him, and sometimes even frustrate him, not to control him, but to help him evolve. A woman in love doesn't sit back and watch the man she loves self-destruct or stagnate. If she sees him slipping, falling, into negative patterns or drifting away from his goals, she'll speak up. She'll challenge him to take accountability. She'll ask him the hard questions. She'll encourage him to rise not because she's trying to fix him, but because she believes in him. She believes in his purpose, in his strength, in his ability to lead, to build, to rise, especially when he forgets all those things himself. Her love is not passive. It's powerful. It doesn't sit quietly while he plays small. It motivates, it mirrors, it moves. This kind of love might not always feel easy. At times, it might even be uncomfortable. Growth always is. There may be moments when her truth feels like pressure, or her high standards feel overwhelming. But the truth is, her expectations aren't about control. They're about elevation. She doesn't want a perfect man. She wants a present man, one who's willing to evolve, to be better, to build something real with her. And her willingness to call him out, to hold up a mirror, to push him toward his best self, that is a rare gift. She might challenge his habits, his mindset, or even his emotional walls. She'll ask him to communicate more openly, to stop running from vulnerability, to show up in ways that matter. And while some men may resist this at first, those who truly understand love will recognize this for what it is, a powerful form of support. Because she's not challenging him to hurt him. She's doing it to help him grow. She's fighting for the man he can become, and that's one of the most selfless things love can do. She's not trying to be his parent or his boss. She's trying to be his partner. And partnership, real partnership, means accountability. It means mutual elevation. It means standing beside someone and saying, "I love you enough not to let you settle. I love you enough to push you, gently, but firmly, toward your higher self." When a woman loves a man like that, her love becomes a catalyst, not just for romance, but for transformation. And that's the kind of love that doesn't just change relationships, it changes lives. When a woman truly loves a man, she doesn't just love the highlight reel, the confident smile, the strengths, the polished version of him that the world sees. She loves him in his rawness. She loves the parts of him that are still healing, the parts he's ashamed of, the parts he thinks make him unworthy. She doesn't try to change or fix him like a project. Instead, she accepts him completely, without judgment. And this type of acceptance is not about ignorance or blind loyalty. It's about seeing someone fully and choosing to stay. Loving someone deeply means coming face to face with their flaws, their moods, their insecurities, their temper, their doubts. It means watching them break sometimes and still holding space for them with patience instead of pulling away. It means understanding that even the man she loves can be imperfect, inconsistent, and emotionally messy, but her love doesn't flinch. She might not always agree with his actions, but she never attacks who he is at his core. That distinction is everything. She knows how to correct without crushing, how to express disappointment without disrespect, how to challenge without condemning. In her presence, he feels something rare, freedom to be himself without the fear of rejection. He can show his weaknesses without feeling small. He can make mistakes without feeling unloved. He can be imperfect and still feel like he's enough. That kind of emotional safety is rare, and for many men, it's life-changing. The world often expects men to hold everything together, to hide their emotions, to be stoic and invulnerable. But when a woman loves a man deeply, she becomes the space where he doesn't have to pretend anymore. He doesn't have to be the strong one all the time. He can just be, and know that he's still loved. And yet this acceptance doesn't mean she lacks standards. She's not blind. She doesn't tolerate abuse, neglect, or disrespect. Her acceptance isn't the absence of boundaries, it's the presence of maturity. She knows the difference between flaws that are human and flaws that are harmful. But when she sees a man trying, evolving, doing his best even with his struggles, she stands by him, not with pity, but with love. Not with a savior complex, but with sincere, quiet loyalty. Her love doesn't shame him for what he isn't. It honors him for all that he is, and all that he's becoming. She understands that love is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about recognizing the beauty in someone's brokenness and not turning away. It's about choosing to see their soul, not just their slip-ups. When a woman loves this way, she doesn't just accept a man, she heals something in him. She teaches him that he is not the sum of his mistakes. She teaches him that real love doesn't shrink when flaws appear, it expands. And that lesson can echo for a lifetime. When a woman truly loves a man, she doesn't just give him affection. She gradually begins to invite him into her world, piece by piece, layer by layer. This act, though it may seem gentle on the surface, is actually one of the deepest signs of emotional intimacy and commitment. Because for many women, their inner world, their thoughts, their dreams, their fears, their past, their private routines, even their family, is sacred. It's not something they offer to just anyone. But when she loves deeply, that boundary begins to soften and she starts to blend her life with his, not forcefully but naturally. At first it might be subtle. She may start including him in her future plans, not just casually but intentionally. When we move, when we take that trip, when we start something together. That "we" isn't an accident. It's a conscious shift. Her vision for her future starts to have a space for him in it. And that shift doesn't just happen because she's fantasizing. It happens because she sees value in building a life with him. She begins to trust him not just with her present, but with her future. She also begins to share her emotional space, the sides of her personality that the world rarely sees, her vulnerable thoughts, her childhood wounds, her insecurities, her unspoken dreams start coming to the surface. She tells stories she hasn't told in years, opens up about the things she's afraid of, talks about what keeps her up at night and what lights her soul on fire. And when she does this, it's not just small talk, it's trust. It's her way of saying, "I feel safe enough to let you in." That invitation into her world doesn't end with words. She starts introducing him to her people, her close friends, her siblings, her parents. She wants him to see where she comes from, to understand the context of her life. And she also wants to see how he fits into it all. Because in her mind, if he's truly her person, he should belong in the spaces that matter to her. She wants to bridge the gap between his life and hers, not just through proximity, but through meaning. Her life becomes more open, more shared, more connected. And just as importantly, she starts involving herself in his world too, not out of obligation, but out of genuine interest. She wants to understand what drives him, what challenges him, what brings him joy. She wants to be part of the life he's building. Because love for her isn't about possession, it's about participation. It's not just about being with someone, it's about growing alongside them. So she makes space for him, not just in her heart, but in her habits, her routines, her priorities. He becomes woven into her life in a way that feels organic, not forced. When a woman begins to share her world in this way, it's not a casual gesture, it's a full-hearted decision. It means she's not just falling for him, she's choosing him, again and again. In the quiet moments, in the big decisions, and in every corner of the life she's building. And so, when we step back and really look at these 6 things, when a woman lets down her guard, prioritizes his needs, stands by him through struggles, pushes him to grow, accepts his flaws, and invites him into her world, we begin to understand something deeper about love. It's not loud, it's not always obvious, but it is incredibly real. A woman's love, when it's true, is not shown through dramatic declarations or grand performances. It's shown in quiet acts of loyalty, consistency, emotional bravery, and unwavering support. These are not things she does for just anyone. These are not behaviors you'll see in a woman who's half invested, unsure, or indifferent. No, this is how a woman loves when she's all in. And if you're lucky enough to experience that kind of love, recognize it. Don't take it for granted, because it's rare, it's real, and it's a gift. So to every man listening, if you have a woman in your life who's doing even one of these things for you, pause, appreciate her, respect her, and most of all, show up for her just as deeply. Because the truth is, women don't do these things for attention or praise. They do them because love for them is not a transaction, it's a transformation. And they're choosing you to be part of that transformation. And to the women who've loved like this, even when it wasn't returned the way you deserved, know this. Your love is powerful. It's real. It's nothing to ever feel ashamed of. In a world that often encourages detachment and ego, your capacity to love deeply is a quiet rebellion, and it's beautiful. So let's not just admire these acts of love. Let's honor them. Let's return them. Let's grow from them. Because at the end of the day, love isn't proven in words, it's revealed in actions, especially the ones done silently, selflessly, and from the heart. Thank you.